Hey everyone, well, it's Thanksgiving weekend. Leaves are starting to change. This afternoon here it kind of got a little windy and from the north. This morning the wind was from the south. It was nice and warm, but now it's kind of cool at the end of the day. And we're rebuilding a shed. This is at the east yard. It had some very old materials this shed was probably built at least 40 years ago, I'm estimating. And it was built the same time as this one, and it had this kind of tin on it. I guess I should have, Dave and I peeled the tin off here 2 days ago, but it had this kind of tin, which is, well, this shed's got to be that condition, but it's not in very good shape. But it had this kind of tin on it. In fact, there it is in the pile. I thought maybe I could salvage some of this to make windbreak panels, but nah, it's scrap iron material, as you can tell. I think out of all this, there's maybe 4 sheets I could use. So I'll see if I can get Sherry to bring up that short that we did back in June. What had happened, we had a kind of a plow wind that come from the south one evening and blew the tin off this roof right about here. You can see where the strapping is ripped off. That's rotten too. There's a big hole right in here. Tin had flipped over. The back wasn't too bad, but this is still rotten and whatnot. And then there's a pretty good sized hole there from the bulls and whatnot, because the bulls come in here sometimes in the wintertime just to get out of the wind if they're not out there. So when I seen this roof ripped off, I thought, you know what, maybe we should tear this down and maybe use the splash planks, maybe even move this shed to, say, west of Dad's yard and use it for a calf shelter, because it's about the right size for about 30 or 40 calves. But Dad, he wanted to rebuild the shed the way it is, just re-tin it. So okay, well, that's fine. So that's what we're doing. So the first day I was peeling tin off here, and then when Dave come, well, we finished taking the tin off, and I had to run off in the afternoon, and so he put these planks on to kind of keep the wind out and whatnot, because there was not really nothing here. Then shored up these posts, as you can see, and that one especially. Shored that up so things weren't so wobbly. Just like that. And today we started putting tin on and strapping. Of course, the tin is, as you can see, is older tin that was stored in that shed. And actually the 2x4s that we're using for strapping, that's in the truck there, with some old walls that some hunters brought out and left and said we could use. They were in the shed. So basically we haven't bought a plank or a board yet, and we're just kind of using up materials that's already here. So far the only thing we've got into it is the screws and the nails, and Dave's wages, of course. But oh, there's a gopher. Whoop. Little bugger. So this is what we got done today. We had to, hopefully, I'll take you around. And hopefully the wind doesn't. Here's our scaffolding. Good old 4450 with the snow bucket. So yeah, let's see if I can zoom out. No, I can't. No, okay. Zoom in. So yeah, with used tin, you have screw holes. So the biggest challenge is hoping that we can line up our strapping with the screw holes. But also your screw holes got to be in line. This tin wasn't necessarily much in line. As you can see, there's a little bit of waving action going on. So a little bit of goofing around and measuring and cutting and whatnot. We got her done. Just like that. Some more strapping. Actually, it's relatively good here. So then we had to go get our roof. Gotta go get our tin out of our roof. So let's go over there and get that done up. Well, Dave and I are just trying to figure out the sheets for the roof of that shed. So we decided to lay a bunch out here because we have to make sure our screw holes are somewhat in line. These ones were never drawn very straight, so we managed to find 8 pieces here for the roof to be able to work. So we'll get that over there and we'll see how much more time we got to work on this. Well, it's the Monday after Thanksgiving and we're back at this project. And we've managed to get enough tin to do the half of the roof, this half of the roof. We had to kind of do some MacGyvering and figuring, and we put some extra strapping in. Those 2x6s that are rotten, we just decided to leave them there. There's no screw holes in them or anything. So just to make the screw holes line up and whatnot, we had to put the extra strapping in, and we got to do a little hole filling there. And so yeah, this was the morning's project. Now we're going to do here. So we're going to have to put more strapping, of course, or better strapping. Put a new boards up at the front. But we went to our shed to see if we can find some more of these 12-foot pieces, but it ended up that what was left was pieces and kind of junky and rusty, and so we still had some of these 20-foot sheets from our other projects, like the lean-to at our calving barn, and we also did the back part of our old barns. So we still had a few sheets left over from those projects. This was also salvage material from a shed that had hail damage. There's a few little dents. You really gotta look to find them, but it don't matter for these kind of projects. It's still quite usable tin. So the screw holes are at least in line. So now all we gotta do is make our measurements to see how to fit that on the building properly, and yeah, it's gonna be a little color coordinated, but a little off. But on a building like this, for housing some bulls once in a while, what the heck. Well, spent the afternoon putting 3 sheets of tin on, but that wasn't the only thing we found out we had to do. There was an 8-foot chunk of board we had to take out there, and we had to do some laminating here on each of these sills or rafters, whatever you want to call it. Plus we had to put this in here because this one here wasn't in very good shape. So we had to look for some lumber, which we had kicking around, and So that all takes time and farting around. But she's coming together. Oh yeah, we gotta shore up some where it angles up there. We gotta shore that up a little bit too. So that's tomorrow's project. So yeah, and then we had to figure out our sheets here for the holes. Oh, let me get up here before I fall down. We had to do a bunch of figuring to make sure all our holes lined up good, or at least somewhat. So there was some thinking and scratching our heads and redoing some things. So I guess tomorrow is another day, and hopefully today we have an east wind, which is that way. That helped us, but tomorrow is supposed to be a south wind. That could be interesting. We'll see how the day goes. Well, she's done. The next day. And as you can see, she's howling pretty good today from the south. We managed to get the tin on the roof this morning before it got too windy. We had to get some other tin out. Can't remember if I told you this already yesterday or not, but we had to get some of that stuff that was on a rack from our other projects, like the lean-to on the calving barn and whatnot. So yeah, she's done. Ridge cap on, everything. Should be good for 50 miles yet. So hopefully you can hear me. Here, we'll just do a quick walk around to the north side. It was never that square, so we had to make adjustments as we went. Yeah, there it is. Just doing some cleanup here now. There she be. One more project off the list for winter. Another 14 more to go. So on that note, like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one. I also forgot to mention, thank you, Dave, for all your help. Couldn't do it without you.